If you couldn't tell by my baby face, yes, I am in fact a member of Gen Z. And as the official Zoomer music representative, I have been tasked today with creating an objective S to F tier list of 16 of the most popular Zoomer musicians out currently. Is what I would say if any of that was actually true. Nah, I just got the idea from a comment from Ronald Coleman09. So thank you very much, Ronald, and let's just get started. Alright, and starting things off, we've got the oldest musician on this list, that being Chappell Roan, and probably a top 3 most popular musician as well. She's been having an absolutely massive year in 2024 with her 2023 album, The Rise and Fall of a Midwest Princess. And like many, I did listen to this record last year, and I thought it was pretty good overall. Granted, I'm not really in her music demographic, so I'm sure if I was, I'd like the album a lot more, like a lot of other people are saying. But still, I like the campy sort of synth-pop aesthetic that she's got going with her music right now. I also think she's been getting better with every release. Like, Good Luck Babe is probably my favorite song I've heard from her. So she definitely does have the potential to be higher in the future, but right now, I think I'm gonna go B tier with her. And by the way, these rankings are all purely based on just my personal enjoyment of each artist. I know I joked that this tier list was gonna be objective, but that's a complete lie. Totally subjective. And I'm not going to pretend that I've listened to each artist's full discography on this list, so I'm mostly going to be basing my rankings on what I think about their newest to second newest album. So please, feel free to tell me how wrong I am with these rankings in the comments below.
I've been throw up the sex in
Anyways, next up we've got Jack Harlow, the Gen Z Drake. That's truly the best way I can describe the majority of his music, especially his more recent stuff. And honestly, it really is just that later stuff that gives me such a negative opinion of him nowadays, because I like a lot of his earlier work. I think What's Poppin' is a fun song. I like Confetti a lot, actually. Pretty fun project. And hell, even some tracks on Jackman I would call excellent. But man, is his discography just filled with so many boring dime a dozen hit songs, like fucking First Class, or even Lovin' on Me. That one's not as bad, but I still hate it. Not to mention, he's the poster child for the garbage sampling trend of 2022 and 2023. Still though, I would never call Jack Harlow a bad musician, just an extremely bland one. So I think C tier is fair for him.
I'm not in a mood, cause my flight delayed. So I jumped on a private jet and I'm...
Now, Sench is a really weird case because I think he is legitimately a very talented rapper. I think he's got a really good rapping voice, decent enough flows as well. But my god, does he have some absolutely horrible lyrics on a lot of his verses. There's of course his infamous "How can I be homophobic" line on Doja that's literally the hook of the song. Also there's this verse on Too Much by The Kid Laroi with these two absolute bombs. And how could I forget, his entire verse on Did It First by Ice Spice is literally about him cheating on his partner and trying to hide it. Like, why would you rap about this? So with the amount of weird lines that he has in totality, as well as some absolute bombs in his discography like Let Go, I think I'm feeling, oh, you know what? Central C tier. Above Jack Harlow though.
Every second counts.
Okay, first thing I want to say is, does anyone else find it weird that Clairo is the 4th oldest person on this list? Like, she's just one of those celebrities that's always going to be 19 to 20 in my mind. It's crazy that she's 26 now. But as for her music, I'm a pretty big fan, I'd say. I'm definitely more of a fan of her lo-fi stuff, like her earliest singles, as well as Immunity, but I think she has gotten way better as a songwriter overall, especially on her latest project. Her music does have the potential to be boring to me sometimes, but she's got a ton of highlights in her discography overall. Like, you will absolutely catch me at least once a month listening to Pretty Girl or Flaming Hot Cheetos alone in my room at 3 a.m. I think she's gonna be our first A tier. Now, Laufey, correct me in the comments if I'm wrong with the pronunciation, by the way. She is definitely the most interesting artist on this list, at least in my opinion, just with how jazz influenced her work is. And if you've ever seen some of her live orchestral performances, she's arguably the most talented musician on this list as well. She's really strong as a singer, as well as an instrumentalist, and I just love what she's doing for the jazz genre. And I think I genuinely would go S tier for her if she had like 3 more albums, but as it stands right now, she's only got 2 records in the discography. I guess what I'm saying is that she has way more time to wow me with an incredible project in the coming years, and that's when I think she can get that S. So as it stands right now, we will go A tier with Laufey. Now, I'll be honest with Sabrina Carpenter, I just don't get the hype. And you know, I think part of that is because I associate a lot of her music with Olivia Rodrigo's music, and I'm just a bigger fan of Olivia Rodrigo, but I can't help but compare their work when their careers are so eerily similar. And I don't know, her newest album I really just did not like that much. The production was just so sleepy, and it's not like she's an amazing singer, so she can't really carry that in my opinion. And good lord, are some of her lyrics cringe in her songs, like fucking Make Her Switch Like Nintendo. oh my god, that should not be in a hit song. But I think the biggest thing holding her back, at least for me, is that right now her music sounds way too commercial for me to properly get into. She can make the occasionally catchy hook, but right now there's not much else going for her songs in my opinion. I think I'm gonna go top of C tier with her.
Like damn, she in her move. Like damn, she in her move. Like damn.
I really don't even like Ice Spice's music all that much, and I still think she's insanely overhated. Even if her signature style is getting really repetitive on her newest album, Y2K, you can't deny that she still has plenty of bangers in her discography. Like, if you're gonna tell me you're not absolutely throwing ass when Deli comes on, then I'm sorry, but you're just a liar. There's not much substance to her music, obviously, but still, it really just functions as dumb fun to me, which I think can work. Still though, I think Y2K is a pretty bad album, so with that in the picture, I think I would go middle C.
I was bored by the shit, made $1 billion. Now fuck that bitch.
Now, Yeat as an artist is someone that I just really wish I could rank higher fairly, especially with how much he's improved with his latest record, 2093. He's probably the most captivating artist in the rage scene right now, besides Cardi. But his earlier stuff I just really don't like, and I think it holds back his discography massively right now. Another one definitely with the potential to be S in the future, but right now I think I'd go B tier with him.
It's 8 o'clock in the morning, now I'm entering my bed.
And PinkPantheress will undoubtedly be the first S tier here. I know this has totally been said before, but it is true. Listening to her music is like taking drugs with the pure amount of dopamine they give you. For one, she is ridiculously good at making catchy melodies. I don't know how she does it on half of her tracks, especially with how fast some of them are. And her style of production is so cool with its garage and drum and bass influences. Not to mention she has a ton of cool samples across a lot of her instrumentals. And man, her newest album has really elevated her sound in my opinion. I mean, what more can I really say with her music? It's just dope. S tier very well deserved.
And I don't know what I'm crying.
Now, I'll be honest, I really didn't get the hype for Billie Eilish at first, but man, did she win me over with her newest album. I genuinely think that it might be the best project that any artist on this list has released. Just so many beautiful and heartbreaking songs. I was ridiculously impressed on first listen. And along with her being an amazingly talented singer, pretty strong lyricist, and having an insanely good producer as a brother, I think she has to be another S tier here. And you know what? Just because I think she does have the best project on this list, I think I will even put her above PinkPantheress. And funnily enough, Oran is another artist that I really didn't get the hype for until her newest album. And even still, I thought Sour was decent, but Guts is what really got me into her music. And unlike Sabrina Carpenter, despite her being such a massive artist now, her music still has a really authentic vibe going for it, which I can really appreciate. And I'm gonna keep going with the Sabrina Carpenter comparisons here, but again, she's really good with hooks. She's also a much stronger lyricist than Carpenter in my opinion, even if she does still have the occasional line that makes me cringe. I think I want to go another A tier with her, maybe even above Clairo. Yeah, I think that's fair. Gotta drink all the water for this one. Dream guest on my podcast? Yeah, JoJo Siwa's going in F tier, unsurprisingly. I had the displeasure of listening all the way through her EP, and my god, is it some of the most generic pop music I've ever heard. And god, is it made so much worse with how she acts like she's this generational icon in all the interviews I've seen of her. But despite how bad her music is, I will give her credit here. She didn't invent gay pop, so, you know.
This is to my exes who don't give a shit about me.
And next we've got the supposed industry plant Tate McRae, and my god, is her music soulless. No distinct voice, no distinct production, no distinct song structure, no distinct anything. Tate to me really just comes off as someone who's only a pop star because of their skills as a performer slash dancer. And credit where credit is due, she is good in that aspect, but musically, nah bro. I won't go F tier with her since her music isn't JoJo Siwa levels of terrible, but I think D tier is fair considering how sleep inducing her music is.
I do the same thing I told you that I never would. I told you I changed.
No, I'm not gonna lie, I was a massive Kid Laroi fan when he originally released his Fuck Love mixtape back in 2020, I think. Now, that was mostly due to me being like 15, and so I was still in my heavy emo rap phase, but still. Even going back to that mixtape now, I think it's got a ton of tracks that hold up decently well. Sure, the Juice WRLD influence is very heavy, but I think Laroi does work in this pocket. Unfortunately though, he does have a lot of more pop-oriented tracks in his discography, and most of them are just painfully meh. And his debut album, in my opinion, was just frustratingly average, with only a few highlights. Really, he's hovering in between B and C tier for me, but I don't know, I've got a soft spot for Laroi's music, so I'll go bottom of B.
These hoes be so fake. I'm tired of getting played.
I can't believe I'm talking about this little fucker again. And yes, I am allowed to say that because he's one of the two artists on here that I'm actually older than. Legit, the only thing Lil Mamu's music ever had going for it was the slight amusement factor with this whole rich white kid pretending to be a gangster bit. And now that that gimmick's been run into the ground at this point, his music quite literally offers nothing. If you want more of my thoughts, I've got a whole video breaking down his entire career besides his debut album, but trust me, his debut did not change my opinion of him. Easiest F tier of my life, my god.
Yeah, I'm trying to hit this. I guess I could take one too.
And ending off fairly weakly, we've got another perfect example of hip-hop gentrification with Ian. While his music isn't offensively bad like Lil Mabu's or anything, Ian truly is the epitome of boring rage rap. Literally every song I've heard from him just comes off as a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy of the blueprint set by Playboi Carti back in 2020 now. And while he is backed by the occasionally decent beat, he literally does nothing for me vocally or lyrically. Pretty easy D tier for me. And that is officially going to wrap up the Gen Z artist tier list. If you enjoyed, make sure to like the video and subscribe to my channel to see new uploads from me every single Saturday, unless I say otherwise in my community posts. Also, like I said, feel free to tell me how wrong I am about your favorite artists in the comments. Hell, I'd love to see a Lil Mabu or JoJo Siwa stan just rip into me down there. And finally, if you'd like to support the channel further, you can now become a member and receive early access to all my videos, as well as a special shout out for me in them, as you'll see on the screen right now. So join up if you're interested, it really does help me out a lot. But yeah, that's about it. Thanks for watching.